1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Lex talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. Woo!
Yes, sir.
Welcome back.
Yo, baby.
Ladies and
That's kind of impressive, too.
That was
honestly.
pretty
Yeah.
impressive. Wow.
episode
49.
49.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
impressive.
Wow.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
That's 3 away from our 1-year anniversary.
Yeah.
We're almost there, boys.
That's a
almost there.
feat.
That is a
That
feat.
is a feat.
That's a feat. That's
Yeah.
almost better than winning the Heisman.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a hard one to compete with.
or losing
I know,
it. Sorry,
I
Reggie
know.
Bush.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know, we obviously shoot these weekly. 52. And you
We do that weekly.
tune
We
in
do, we do.
weekly, Fridays.
Tune in. Let's talk about near you.
Be there. But this is gonna be a good episode, guys. I'm really excited to hone in on this episode and and really give you guys some good sauce on how Lexington runs our management team. Everybody here runs a department, their respective department over here at Lexington. You know, Tom Partnerships, Grizzly Operations, me. I guess you could say the company as a whole.
It's a good department.
Appio, his commercial financing department. So today we're going to talk to you guys about how to manage a company, how to manage your small to medium sized business.
It's a great freaking topic.
Yeah.
But first,
Yeah.
without further ado,
Who's
my
that?
name is Thomas McCauley, your head
Oh,
of business
is it?
development.
Oh, that's you.
To my left, I have.
Grizz, Frank Lawando, COO.
Frank ED, CEO.
Appio Fragaletti, Director of Banking Relations.
And now, introducing the number one management team in the world.
Oh, I think that's us. Wow.
That was extra
Thanks for
long.
the intro.
Yeah, that was an extra long.
That really meant a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce.
Yeah.
He's coming for you, Bruce.
Once
That
again,
already knows.
Mr. Buffer.
You got
Still
like 10
coming
more
for
years
you.
before Tommy ends.
Buffer's on his way out. I'll take
Buffer
my-
is on his way out. He's getting
my
old.
part-time
He's
UFC
washed.
track.
He's washed.
His suits aren't though.
His suits are nice. His suits are
It's
nice.
hard to compete against those.
I
you
mean,
know?
dude, like 300 something UFCs. Like you need a different suit for every one. You got to get creative.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely has a custom tailor.
no doubt.
Yeah,
no
has to.
doubt. And Lex, it's on its way.
One day.
Lex
Lex
Taylor.
Taylor.
Lex Taylor.
Two.
But let's dive into the topic of discussion today, guys.
What are we talking about?
Let's talk about management inside of your business. So,
well, boy, is it important.
oh boy, is it important. So obviously, management, guys, it's crucial to every single bit and piece and part of your business. Think of any sports team without a coach. You know, think of any.
I'll be the quarterback.
Think of any school without a teacher, without a principal. You need somebody to lead the way in every single department. And the way that we think about our management team is we don't consider us managers. We consider ourselves leaders. So we don't promote someone to be a manager. We promote you to be a leader, and you need to work as such and act as such. Because what a lot of managers do, quote unquote, is they'll get very power hungry. They'll get power driven, and they let that get to them, and they don't run their operation or their department very effectively like they should be, because they're almost just letting all that fame and fortune get to their head. So we promote leaders here, and that's your job here at Lexington when you are in a management quote-unquote position, is to be a leader.
I like that you brought that up too, because I was reading a book, I forget which one, but like there's like two types of leaders. There's the ones who are in the trenches with you leading the way, and there's the ones pointing, telling you how to do it. You know, the ones who are in there with you leading the way, like that's what we encompass here. That's our strategy, that's our goal, and that's what leads to the ultimate success, is being there, showing someone how to do it, not just telling them how to do it. Like just an effective strategy in and of itself.
Agreed. Well, no one's going to want to work for somebody who says to do something and they are either not currently do it or haven't done it in the first place. And for me personally, I never have asked anybody to work an extra hour that I haven't worked. I've never asked them to do a certain task that I haven't worked. And if they're currently doing a task that I'm not currently doing, it's just because I'm working on delegating tasks within the company so that we could all grow as human beings and as individuals. Because if you don't delegate tasks and you don't have your employees do what you used to do or what you are currently doing, you're actually holding back their growth and from them, developing as a person inside of your organization.
Essentially, yeah, and the accountability with that too. You build these people up, you let them go, and now you can focus on like that next task of managing the managers. Rather than like that extra smaller step. But you get that broader view now. You level up, they level up, and it's just good for the culture and the company.
Agreed, and that's why micromanaging is actually really important in the beginning of your when you onboard somebody into your department, micromanaging is very important because you don't want to be that manager that's like, oh, Johnny starts day one, you let him do his thing, and then it's like a week, a month later, you start seeing he's not producing, he's not doing the right thing, and then you start getting on his ass, and then Johnny's like, well, Frankie wasn't like this when I first started, I don't like this, quit, so you need to be on them in the first place, and it's like pushing your son riding his bike. You're pushing, and then eventually you let go when you feel like when they're ready.
Yeah.
It's definitely a big trickle-down thing. Like you said, you don't ask anyone to do anything you wouldn't do or work an extra hour that you work. If you're right there with them, working with them, it makes them want to just work harder and harder and harder and give them a lot more drive than somebody who would just be, pointing fingers, telling them to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, no one respects him.
Yeah, I mean, my father said the same exact thing to me growing up. He's never had any of his employees. He's a contractor. He's never had any of his employees climb a certain pitch roof that he hasn't climbed before. Worked as hard as he had, hammer this many nails in a day, or whatever the hell it was. And same thing with him and his business as well. And I think it's oh geez, I lost my train of thought there. Somebody else pick me up.
Shout out Fragility Builders.
Shout out Fragility Builders.
Shout out Fragility Builders.
I know who's building my home.
Yeah.
You never get hurt buying dirt.
No,
You never get hoit buying doit.
Dirt, great investment.
Dirt management.
Yes.
I'm a dirt consultant.
But,
No.
oh no, I was gonna say, just like to tap on with what everyone's saying, like any job I've worked, like I've had jobs where the owner, like the manager, would like leave before you, and it's like discouraging. It's like when you like I almost feel bad like leaving like in your steel. It's like, oh, he's still going, I could keep going.
Yeah.
And then but like at those other jobs, like, well, they're not here, like.
Yeah.
Like, do they not care? Like I'm supposed to sit here and care when they're not caring, and it's like, all right, it's just a defeating situation for anyone. But when your management's there and they're working just harder, just as hard, whatever as you, it motivates you to keep going. So,
and being in the trenches, I got my train of thought back.
Nice.
Choo. So being in the trenches with your team as well. I mean, I've realized it firsthand that if I start to delegate a task, 'cause I have a pretty big team in the bank room. We got 8-9 guys in here. And if I decide to finally delegate one of my tasks that I've been doing over to one of my other colleagues, and right now my last one I delegated was to Carlos, after like a month of not doing that task myself, I've now found myself asking Carlos a question about it because I'm not in that exact trench day in and day out. So now I'm actually asking Carlos to help. Hey, what's this again? Remind me. And I pick it right back up. But you have to be in your trenches with the guy. If you're just the guy pointing fingers, you're probably pointing fingers in the wrong freaking directions half the time.
Yeah.
Or not in the best ones, at least.
Yeah. And that's why it's important that you really want to hire from within. And that's why I'm very lucky that the three of you I've been able to hire from within, because it's almost like disrespectful in a sort of sense that hire on or onboard a manager, somebody that hasn't been in the trenches with the team. They haven't done that job specifically, and then boom, you're just going to pay him more, give him more benefits, and just give him a leadership position when, like, in my opinion, like, he didn't really deserve it or earn it. And that's why, in my opinion, I think founders end up making the best CEOs, and when people go and hire outside counsel or outside CEOs, it never really ends up working out because, I mean, imagine just some random Joe Schmo came in here and was the new CEO. Like, would you trust that guy? No, you trust the guy who you've been working with for years, who has paid you on time for years, who's took care of you and your family for years, who's been here for you for years, who had the vision, who actually cares about this company and built it from the ground up. And it's the same exact thing in a management role. So Tom grew the partnership division. He worked hard at it. He might not be the most skilled guy in the world, but you deserve to run this department because you try the hardest, you've been here the longest, you give the most to this company, you have the best heart, and you're the hardest working. So all those intact, I know that
crack a smile.
as we finally seen Tom's pearly whites. So as the founder, I envision that in Tom, and I see that in Tom. And although he might not be the most skilled when he first started, he's definitely has grown and built into the role, and now you are a lot more skilled. So it's not always hiring on the best skilled guy or the most qualified guy. It's
From Deloitte.
from Deloitte. It's the guy who has the most grit, who cares the most, who's been in the trenches with you the most, who the team really respects.
And that's a big thing, too, about hiring within is that I know a lot about all of the other departments. Yeah. So any question that comes through me, I pretty much know 99.99% of the answers. And if I don't, you guys are a G chatter 10 steps away. Yes, so it's definitely more advantageous to have someone like me in that position rather than someone who was the head of business development at a law firm somewhere come in and try and run a partnership division here. It's not going to be the same because you can't ask him anything.
No, he doesn't even understand the industry.
Yeah.
Walmart follows that model, and I've always liked that about them too. They only hire and upgrade from within.
Yeah.
Like just like us, like you're not going to go hire a manager because they don't know anything about that Walmart location. They don't know about the employees. You pick Berta, who's been there for 30 years because she knows everyone. She knows their birthdays, and she's been running a tight shift. She gets that management role.
True.
So the hiring from within, it's it's the smartest way to build, managers, because now they're like, okay, I've been here for 2 years. He just promoted me. He does believe in me. He does trust in me. Like, okay, cool. I'm going to put more effort into it now because you promoted them from within. So it just builds an extra layer of care doing that as well.
It also motivates up and coming employees because they see like, hey, Tom went through the trenches. Tom was here from the beginning of the company. Tom moved up to a management level position. Like, I could do that too. Frankie's not hiring outside help to do this. He's investing in his own people.
Yeah.
So I think that motivates even the team to being like, hey, like I can make it here. I can climb the corporate ladder of Lexington and become successful.
100%.
It's great too, as you scale a company, the bigger you get, the harder it is to keep your management in check. So if you hire within, it just naturally kind of keeps them in check. They're already do things like, for our instance, the Lexington way.
Yep.
When we're 500 employees deep and we have 50 managers, you're not going to have to worry as much as if you were just hiring outside people who are just slacking off, not doing what they're supposed to do, don't have our drive, don't have our grit. Like, that's always going to be embedded in our company for that specific reason.
It's true.
Another thing too with the management, I guarantee you go to any other position, some other manager calls out, no one else could fill in there, but like if any of us call out, someone could go into underwriting easily. Tom and I have done that, no problem. Like we can fill in other roles as managers here because we're trained to do that. As we keep saying, we've been in the trenches with them. It's a leading aspect, so it just helps develop you and helps build the company. Seeing that, oh wow, he's actually helping out over here. Like that's awesome. If I'll do that one day. Simple things.
Agreed.
But yeah.
Agreed. I think I picked the right people for the job, to say the least.
Oh, buddy.
So, yeah.
And I got to say, it was so important how much you do micromanage, especially from the start. The micromanaging, like you mentioned before, it makes the world of a difference, especially in the model that we hire. We're not hiring
Deloitte's.
we're not hiring Deloitte's that should know exactly what they're doing, and we're hiring guys that haven't been in leadership positions before.
Yep.
And I've said it time and time again. I don't know how many times on camera, but you're such a freaking awesome boss because you have the balance. You have the balance, and the micromanaging that you do is excelled all of us into being able to now micromanage our guys as well better.
Yeah.
Because micromanaging is so important on day-to-day tasks. The one thing that you said to me that will always stick with me is you always have to assume that nobody's doing their job right.
Yeah.
Because most of the time they're not.
Yeah.
And they need that little check. Just daily reminders, midday reminders, end of the day reminders.
Exactly.
And they stay on track.
Yeah.
And
My favorite
micromanaging is huge.
My favorite thing about the way you micromanage, which is different than like other jobs I've been in, is you don't just tell us what to do over and over again. You just ask us questions. Why did you do this? What would you do in this scenario? What does this mean? How does this work? And then you make us say it, and then you correct us, and then you ask it again and again and again and again, and eventually it's just sewn into your brain.
In the brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's definitely a good thing. I think a lot of people watching this are probably like, micromanaging? I heard that's a derogative term in business. Like, no, you just are working for the wrong company, buddy. It's good up to a certain extent. You don't want to do it to a guy who's been working for you for 6 months. That means you just didn't do a good enough job of training him in the first place, and digging into him, or maybe he just really isn't the right guy for the job.
Yeah. When I first started, if you weren't hovering over me for the first 3 weeks, I wouldn't know anything about the industry.
Yeah, you need that. I like Avio said, we're not hiring people who have done this job before, so we need to speed and catch you guys up as quickly as humanly possible. At the end of the day, it's costing the company money every single day that you guys don't catch up and get up to speed and up to par with what we need. So, yes, it's definitely vital in the beginning, so 100%.
Biggest thing about our form of managing too, which kind of what you just said brought it back, and something that you say all the time, is invest in your people, not profits.
Yep.
You invest in your people, like you said, even though they might not ROI eventually. Right away. Eventually they will, and especially working with people who have never been in our industry, that constant nitpicking and teaching them and showing them the correct way, eventually they will ROI, and they'll be a dog infinitely quicker than pretty much anybody else in the industry.
It's true, and you brought up a great point that it's always people over profits, and the profits will eventually roll in, and that's what we've seen over here at Lexington. You just have to genuinely care about the people who work for you, and they'll know if you care about them or not. You got to do a lot of different things for them. You need to be there for them spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally, and everything in between. Any bad thing that happens in their life, you need to be right there, holding their hand, walking them through it, personal things, work-related things, family-related things, like anything along those lines. It's just very important. And if your people really truly care that their boss cares about them, that they'll push themselves to want to work harder for you and entrust in you and be here for you and be by your side just like you were by theirs. And it's mostly because that there's not a lot of people out there that you can trust. So I think when employees find somebody that has a good, genuine heart, they'll stick with you side by side and really help you row the ship and and accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish if you're there for them and you really do care about them.
And it separates you too, you know, because like a lot of companies, like I'm sure, you know, we've all had jobs before, you know, like the managers don't do that. And again, it just expresses another level of, I don't really want to be here, you know, but like when you come to a place like this where there's good managers and as you said, you know, you want to be there for them, you want to care about them, their families, like it makes people want to be here longer, you know, it makes them like care. Like I've seen you go up and be like, hey, how's your kid? You know, like, hey, how's this doing? How's that? Like you know everything about your employees and they fucking love that because it's that personal touch where like they go work at any other, you know, shop in our area and they don't care. They just they profit. And like, yeah, we want profits too, but like we want to feel good about making those profits, you know, like we want to care about our employees. It's just all the things that go into it. You know, you make better profits when you make better people.
It's agreed. Joey. Another part to that is it's having fun. It's having fun. Touchdown! Oh my god! Oh my god! My bad, guys. I won the Heisman Award. Yeah, guys, it's just having fun with your team, guys. It's another important thing. You know, make work fun again, right? You know, a lot of office jobs. We've had people come into this company, and they were like Corey is a good example. Like, I mean, I'll never work an office job. I can't sit at a desk. And like,
that was me.
We've made it so it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah.
And on top of it, you don't have to sit at your desk all day long. You can walk around. So,
We'll take your chair.
Yeah. We'll take your chair. We've done it before.
Got myself a special chair.
It's true. But throwing fun into it is huge, and I think I'm gonna dive into some things that we do that's fun in my opinion, and then you guys add to it because I'm definitely gonna forget. But I mean, we do a lot of team outings.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we go to bars. We'll go mini golfing. We'll go real golfing. We just did flag football this weekend.
Just added
Hence
to
the
the roster.
football. Really fun. Some of us
Softball
got
team
hurt.
last
You know,
year.
some of us are sore.
My feelings were hurt.
Yeah, but we're doing good. We go out to bars. We go to restaurants. We go to clubs every once in a while when we're feeling frisky.
We have dance
We're
parties in
getting
the
dinner,
office.
dance parties in the office.
Softball team last
Duck
year.
Duck Goose, softball team, cartwheels.
We have
big
two
on
pillows.
singing.
We have two pillows. Middle of a workday. This guy grabs two of the pillows, throws one at someone. He's like, pillow fight. Like just the little things, you
Yeah,
know.
it's
Like
true.
who knows if that salesman was having a shitty patch
It's
for
true.
a couple minutes, and you just brightened their day. You know, like now they just closed the deal.
Yeah,
You know?
throwing toilet paper everywhere around the office.
It is definitely great when you bust into the closer room and I just throw a dot like an Odell it real quick. I'm like,
Throw the football around. You know, it's just like little things that you could do to break up somebody's day, to really just put a smile on their face, make it feel like it's not like fully like work.
Cartwheels.
Yeah, cartwheels, a great thing. And we mentioned our dance parties. That.
I miss when we're all in the room together and we just randomly start singing a song.
Yeah, singing. We sing.
Singing's the
Morning
best.
meetings are very essential. You got to make sure that you have a badass morning meeting.
National
So
anthem.
we do a very badass morning meeting. We're very patriotic. So like Appy said, we sing the national anthem.
Love that.
And yeah, I mean, there's probably a lot of other things. For Halloween, Nicolette just put together like a little Halloween smorgasbord, and we decorated the office. You know, theme days every Friday. You know, wear your jerseys, wear a Halloween outfit.
We got the contest.
Christmas parties, we have contests. So we just like to always keep it fun, clean inside of this office and try to make it not feel like a complete office vibe, you know, and I think people really appreciate that.
And the birthday cakes.
Birthday
So
cakes
many
every
freaking
birthday.
birthdays.
So
That's
we
a
have
big one.
47 employees, so we're basically buying a cake a week.
It's our favorite write-off.
Yeah, it's definitely like a top tier write-off at this very moment in time. Some people who like to grab the cakes like to spend $50-$60 on me. Others have learned the sauce and like to spend 20. So the guys who spend 20, thanks. For the guys who spend 60,
Appreciate it.
do better. I remember our intern Kenny. The first time he gets a cake, he's so excited. It's
Oh
like
my
the
God.
biggest
Oh
cake
my
I've seen in the
God.
world. I look at my Amex, $67. I see him next morning. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And then he made like an point to always make sure he got a cheap cake going forward.
It's like, dude, no one eats the cake.
Yeah,
right?
like
Two
don't go to
people eat the
Carvel
cake.
anymore ever again.
I had the best birthday party here.
What did we do?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, we
we did have a
surprised you, yeah.
birthday party for you. Yeah,
That
that
was
was
a good
fun.
time.
We do podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
We invite our employees on the podcast. We make videos with them, so the marketing team goes around. We make TikToks, Reels, and you know, it's just fun. It breaks up the day. Like imagine like getting screamed at by a client, you know, because they were unhappy with something, and then Taylor or Remy's right behind you saying, "Hey, you ready for a TikTok?" And you're like, "Yeah." Yeah, all right. They'll brighten the day up a little bit. Yeah.
No,
I can use some TikToks. We have a ping pong table.
Yes, with
we have a
basketball
gong.
hoop.
We have a basketball hoop. We have our chief happiness officer, Louie. We got a
Just
dog
trotting
inside of the
around,
office.
yeah.
So, moral of the story, because we're about to list off a billion different things, is you need to focus on your company culture just as much as you focus on the actual execution of the management. Because if you don't have happy employees, they're not going to want to work here. You won't have any employees. And if they do stay, they're not going to be as happy and motivated to work hard for the company.
We've all seen like what our parents worked in. If they worked like those desk jobs, like it's dull, it's boring, and you're grinding away for 30 years. Like at least here you're grinding away, but like it's a freaking fun grind that you're doing.
It's a fun grind.
Like we're all learning from their mistakes. Like offices don't have to be boring. You don't have to be in a cubicle stuffed away in a corner. Like you can have a great time with like people right next to you. You can have energy and events going on in the office and still make money. Like we're redefining what it is to be an office nowadays.
We really are. We're like the office on steroids.
Yeah.
Like the show. You didn't know what I was referring to.
Geez,
Funny thing, that's actually what the theme of my birthday party was. Shout out to my sister.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's an office theme. But another big thing too, to even make all of that possible, it's about who you hire. Who you decide to employ, where they come from, the type of people that they are in general. And we hire literally the best people out there, people who may have certain things going on at home, whatever the case may be, have not been offered opportunities like this. And they are so grateful, so eager, so gritty, and willing to learn that they'll put everything aside just to make sure that they are doing the best that they can here.
It's true. And we hire a certain way, obviously, and it's a little indifferent from the industry and even life in general. We're not at college fairs and campuses trying to bribe college kids to come work for me, not go to Deloitte. We don't even really necessarily we don't even necessarily want them, to be honest with you. We're not hitting people up on LinkedIn or calling people or DMing them on Instagram, begging them to come work for us and to leave the competitor because we really need them that badly. We are just hiring local hometown kids that we think deserve a shot to be as successful as all these other people. And I think the fact that we've brought people in who have like-minded ways of thinking and have grew up a certain way that we've all grown up has allowed us to really morph into an actual team. Yeah. And I think that's why like our school, for instance, like that's a really small school, and we won the Long Island Championship that year for football, and I think that it had a lot to do with just we're just these local hometown kids that just wanted to obtain a goal. We worked at it every single year, and then we ended up achieving it because we all really believed in it. We all believed in each other, and we all had that same upbringing and just had that same belief inside of each other. And I thought it was really special.
Damn, you guys won a chip?
We won a chip, yeah.
Damn.
My senior year, yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. So, yeah, all cool stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. We lost ours at Stony Brook, the Suffolk.
To who? Longwood? Brentwood? Not Brentwood. Floyd?
It was Floyd or Longwood, I think. Yeah, because like
Floyd's always good. Longwood's always good too.
So good.
Yeah.
Freaking Isaiah White, that guy was an animal. I don't know if you knew that name.
No, I know Jeremy
Beast.
Ruckert from Floyd.
Yes.
Yeah, he's on the Jets now.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Yeah.
I love the company. We're like the Sandlot, but we all got to the Dodgers.
That's true. Yeah, we did make the big leagues. We did make the big leagues.
One of like my favorite things to do, like just managerial organization is obviously like we all have our different roles, but as the COO, I like to try and have meetings. Like I feel like that's really important. Like I have meetings with certain guys for certain things every week. Like I have a Salesforce meeting, I have a Kixie meeting, I have general like underwriting meeting. We do it with the managers. Like even just walking around, like 30 seconds of their day can change something for the company too, especially for me, like as a manager, I could just be walking by and everything's all cool, but I just walk by and like I hear someone go, fuck, and it's like, oh, what's going on? And boom, that little thing that happens to them could fix something, and it's just by like observing, going around, seeing how everything's going. I love walking by, hey, how's your computer doing? What's going on? Like, how's that running? You like that new thing we just added? Like just like those little touch-ins like throughout the day too, like they help the employees and they help me because I can see if things are working, if things aren't working, and how to fix them from there. Yeah. So meetings, walking around, those are just like two of my favorite things to do.
Yeah. Well, you want to always ask your employees for input for two reasons. One, it makes them feel very special and important that the COO or the CEO or someone in a top tier management level position cares and values their opinion, which is really cool. And then on top of it, they're the people in the trenches physically doing the job. So like their opinion actually really does mean the most. So things that can make their job easier and their life easier are things that you need to take very seriously and you need to implement. So we have this thing called the Lex idea sheet where basically, somebody's working, they make a phone call, they're inputting a lead and they think, if I could do this and I did one last click and we implemented that into Salesforce or into Kixie, into our dialer, our emailing system, then that would make my life a lot easier. And we tell them, add that to the Lex idea sheet, and then that's mine and Grizzly's job as the C-suites to then implement that with our outside consulting team, through our CRM and our dialing system and whatnot. So it's very important to value your employees' opinions, and not any idea is stupid, because even an idea that you didn't think was the brightest could even lead to something else that was actually smart.
The
you
amount
know?
of times that we've been sitting there and it's the 11th hour and like
Yeah.
we're talking about this one idea and we're like and then like we go to another idea and it's like wait a second and then, they
Yeah,
just
those
correlate.
could correlate possibly, and they could work. So definitely always ask your employees for feedback all the time. That's a mini cheat code to being able to grow out each and every department. Is just ask what can make your job easier, and nothing is impossible. Just think of the most crazy thing that you think was not possible, but we could do it, and write it down and on the idea sheet, and let's see if we can implement it. And then it's important for me and Grizzly to sit down once a week to go over all these ideas, and then to implement it.
Yeah. One thing too that I like about like the whole no stupid ideas thing is that there really isn't a stupid idea, but I love to give them the reason why it's not a tangible idea.
Yeah,
You know, like
teaches them.
yeah, exactly. They'll be like, oh, like like I want to do X, Y, and Z. They'll be like, oh, listen, the way the framework's developed on this, it's not going to allow for that, but it's a great idea because it's making me think that if we go over here and do this and this, we could transfer over there. You know, so like just giving them a reason of why it's not going to be implemented or why like it wasn't in the right direction you're going makes them feel good because their idea was heard, it was validated. You know, you put thought into it. You know, as you said, the CEO, COO walking up to you and saying, hey, you had a really good idea. It's just not going to work because of X, Y, and Z. That makes them think because like, oh shoot, I had a good idea. It's not going to work, but let me keep throwing ideas out there. Something will hit the wall.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
One thing I like to do every morning as well is somewhere in between like the 7:45 to 8:15 range, kind of similar to what you said before, is let everybody come in, let my guys come in, let them settle in, spend 15 minutes opening up their computers, getting the crusties out of their eyes for a minute, and then sit down. I'll go in my little kneeling chair in the middle of the room, and I'll just start reading off a little notepad that I took on of all the shit that we went through the day before, any of the F-ups that we had the day before, and reiterating certain things that just need to constantly be reiterated into their minds. Because every day I'll see something will pop up. We're in the middle of the trenches, shit's flying everywhere, and there's a problem that goes on. All right, well, let's handle it right now. Write it down, address it again tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day, until we have it down pat and it's not happening anymore. And I can take that one off the list and keep on adding the other problems that pop up. One thing that I like to do every morning, like I said, in between that morning range, get the eye crusties out, let them sit down, let them splash some water in their face, have a sip of coffee, and then break into it before 9 o'clock even starts, and we're really dialing.
I know what chair you're talking about, and I kind of want to come to one of these now so I could see you in that little chair just chatting with them. I'm sure it's a wonderful thing.
I think it is. Frank's sitting there.
Just so
Ready.
hyped, bro. I love it.
Fired up at 8
Walk in,
a.m.
just
man.
dialed.
Yeah,
He
dialed.
kind of started realizing like when I walk in because he does that Chris thing. And, like I love it, but like he's kind of realized like hold on, he likes it, but let me do it, Chris. Like,
It's a little early for Chris.
just yeah, love you, buddy.
little early
Love
for
you.
Chris.
He actually called. I'm sorry, we were talking management talk here.
No, you're
Yeah.
fine. I was just saying one thing that like Frankie really drilled into my brain. I've always been very aware of my surroundings, but you have to have an extra ear and an extra eye at all times. You have to listen to every little
That's the
thing
biggest
going
thing
on
when it
around
goes
you.
to management is that like as an employee, not to cut you off, is like
You're fine.
your head is down and you're doing the work, but as a manager, your head needs to be up, gazing, go down to your work, up, gazing, down to your work, up, gazing, and you need to always just look at what people are doing constantly, and like Appio said, assume they're not doing their job.
Even like when I need to be dialed in, like you see, like I'll throw my headset on sometimes and like I'll just listen to music, do whatever monotonous task. But like I always have one thing off because I'm always listening. You know, I'll chop into a conversation or something with you guys and it's like, oh wait, Grizz was listening to that. It's like you got to be, you know, as you said, you got to always be observant, always listening. You know, walking around, I could be talking to someone, but like this year is listening to what's going on over there while I'm still talking to you because I just heard a problem while I'm talking to you about whatever else we're talking about. You know, head on a swivel, ears open, eyes wide.
Especially in our industry too, because all of our departments intertwine so heavily that, you know, I could be in the closer room and Corey could be on the other side talking about something that has to do with this file, that has to do with a partner, that has to do with me, that has to do with Joe, that has to do with the bank room, and it's like that little bit of information, if I missed it, that could have delayed something so much longer than it had to be, rather than me having a solution for whatever was going on over there right then and there.
Yeah.
So you could solve a lot of problems with just being a little bit more situationally aware.
Agreed.
Definitely agree. One thing too is, you know, as you're training managers, you really got to make sure that, you know, you show them how you were trained. You know, like as we always say, like Frankie was always there with us, showing us along the way. So like that breakdown effect is huge because, you know, we were all trained good, and like now it's our turn to pass on the fruits of his labor and, you know, break it down into like the next generation of future managers. You know, and like those meetings I talk about, I just brought in a fresh manager, and like he's almost like, I'm in here. You know, like they want to hear what I have to say. It's like, yeah, dude, like you were just there, and like I want to know what's going on with there now that you're here. You know, like it's so, you know, bringing in like that next generation, training them the right way, showing them what's good. It's gonna, you know, keep building up the future and build up the company regardless.
It's definitely extremely rewarding here specifically too. I did a lot of managing in my past life in a restaurant, and you're not changing people's lives in a restaurant. It's not happening. I mean, you can help people get better at their job, but at the end of the day, it's a restaurant job. But here, you could see someone actually change their life at a very young age just because of the attention and the care that you put onto them. It's one of the most fulfilling things I can think of about this company.
Yeah, it's a good feeling from a management standpoint. I hope that you guys feel that way, because it's really cool seeing someone come up from nothing, someone that you grew up with, or someone that you didn't even really know up until recently, and just knowing how rough their life is and being able to see them overcome it just by some grit, by some hard work, by some belief, and you could really change your life. So it's definitely very rewarding. That's my favorite thing about being in a management level position, is just seeing the growth of other individuals that you brought on and that you believed in. And that brings me to my next point that I want to bring up, and that the biggest and most important thing as a manager in management is that you need to wholeheartedly believe in your people more than anything else in the world. And especially when they first come on, especially when we onboard people, you know, they don't know what the heck they're doing. They've never been in this industry. They've never done it before. So you need to instill that confidence in them that you think they're a Jedi. You think that they could be a millionaire. You think that they could rewrite and change their family's history, that you think they're very special, because they might not feel that way about themselves. So you need to instill that into them, and you almost need to trick and reverse engineer their mind into them believing themselves. And eventually, if you say it enough to them and other outsiders are saying that to them, then they really will either trick themselves or actually really start to believe, like, hey, I could do this. Hey, I am special. I was put on this earth for a reason. You know, I can do the things that Frankie and the management teams tells me. Like, I could do this. I could change my family's history. I could rewrite our history. I could change the world. I could do a lot of different, you know, very special things. So I think just believing in your people and instilling a lot of confidence into them is honestly your biggest and most important job and role as a management position.
It's cool too, like being in a younger environment that we're in as well, because like, you know, these new guys coming in, you know, we've only been around for X amount of years, and like they see it and they're like, wait, if they've been doing this for that long, I can do that too, you know. And as you just said, you know, like we're showing them that they can do it, and it's not been a long time, you know. Like success can happen if you put your head down, you listen to the people. That's what we tell these guys. Listen to the guys at the end caps. Listen to your managers. They've done it, and they didn't do it not that long ago, you know. So like this could be you in a year. This could be you in 6 months. Like you got to listen to those people, because we're a young company. We're young guys, and you know the guy next to you might be his manager, but he might only be a year younger than you. You know, you just listened and did it better, quicker, faster. So show him how to do that. You know, we all do that.
One specific example that I'm not going to say I was a direct influence on. Obviously, it was him and his hard work. But one of our reps had a month where he only sold 85K, and he was pissed. It was the end of the month, so we went. We got a drink after work, and we were sitting there. I was just talking to him. I was like, dude, like it's fine. Like next month is your $1 million month. Next month is your $1 million month. Don't worry. Next month is your $1 million month. Sure enough, that next month was his $1 million month. Wow. And he was hyped. He was like, you said it. I was like, I called it. But yeah, he was down, hurt, pissed. We just sat down and relaxed for a minute after work, and I was like, dude, like, calm down. Like you always say, it's sales. You know, one day you're up here, one day you're down here. It's just about getting back up to here.
It's true. And not everybody's born with a boatload of confidence, you know, especially as a man. You come into this world with no existential value whatsoever. Every single day you have to, like, earn it through grit, through hard work, and you have to prove yourself to other people. You know, some people are more confident than others, obviously. Some people have a problem with it. And so that's where we come in, and, you know, we show that, like, we believe in you. You know, a guy who is a millionaire believes in you. You know, why don't you believe in yourself? Like, look in the mirror, dude. Like, you need to, for one, be happy with the man that you're looking at when you're in the mirror every single day, and just know at the end of the day, as long as you put your all and your effort and your might into what you do every single day in perfecting your craft, then there's nothing to ever be upset or ashamed about, and that should be enough confidence in itself, the fact that you have the guts and the balls and the grit and the might to try and do something that other people are even too afraid to do.
That's a big thing that you always say, too, that we all do every day. None of us are afraid to fail. We all say stupid crap. We all mess up every single day right in front of everyone, and it just is what it is. Now you learned, you push forward, you don't make that mistake again, and you just keep building yourself up and up and up. I mean, like you said, even you make mistakes all the time. You know, the head of the company.
Making mistakes.
It's perfect.
It's amazing.
And it lets your employees know that we're not drones, you know what I mean? We're human beings, and we're just like you. We just have done this a little bit longer. So you just keep following the footsteps. You're going to make mistakes. That's fine.
Yeah.
You always get them back.
Yeah, and the bad things that happen to you, like I like to say, all the bad things that happen to me in my life, and along with all of you guys, have actually ended up growing into amazing, beautiful things. So it's like, how could I ever think that a problem, a threat, or anything bad that's going on currently is going to end up in a bad situation? If anything, it's just going to make me stronger. I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to make more money because of it. I'm going to grow from it. It's actually a blessing in disguise, having to go through whatever bullshit is kind of in my way right now. And it's going to grow me as an individual. It's going to grow me as a person. And we do, show that to our guys, because, there's two different types of people. There's someone who's showing with a problem, and they say, oh, and then they throw in the towel. And there's another person who's showing a problem, they say, oh, I'm going to run through this shit right now. And you want to be the second guy.
100%. One thing, too, I think that's important, especially just like from an upper management standpoint, is not being afraid to go around the other managers, but like not... gonna phrase that weird. You don't want to step on toes, but like don't be afraid to like go down and talk to the level under them, because like again you're gonna get more information that way. I know we keep talking about that, but like we're at a good level now where we have tiers of managers. So like again, as a C-suite guy, like you'll talk to anybody. I'll talk to anybody, and like that's good, because like you're not always gonna get the most raw information from the manager directly underneath you, because maybe they're not walking around, maybe they're not in everyone's ear every day long, gathering data, learning about the day-to-day issues. So like it's not the worst thing to step around the manager and just go learn about what's going on. It's always good to be in touch with what's beneath you so you can manage the aerial view. So I think that's just always a good thing too. Like never be afraid to go and do what you have to do to make sure that the job gets done, essentially.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And the communication between managers is great. I mean, not everyone can see everything. So, I mean, somebody sees something that's going on in a different department, or maybe they know someone has a little bit more affinity towards someone. Maybe someone's having a bad day. It's like, hey, like so-and-so said this happened to him. Could you go check on him, X, Y, and Z? And that plays a big thing, because, I mean, not everyone sees everything. Not everyone hears everything. But as long as somebody sees it and says something, then it gets solved.
Yeah. And that's why it's important for all managers in all departments to constantly communicate. And that'll bring up, I know we spoke about meetings a little bit, but meetings are crucial, but you don't want to overmeet and you don't want to undermeet. A lot of companies overmeet and nothing gets accomplished. And a lot of companies undermeet and they're not communicating with each other enough, to get done what the company needs to. So I think we do it just the right amount. I think we could do it a little more, but I think at the very least, each department needs to meet, so your team lead of sales, Chris Galucci is going to meet with our top 5 sales dogs, and he's going to get feedback. He's going to get communication from them, how he can make this better, yada, yada, yada. Grizzly's going to meet with his operations team. Appio's got to meet with his team. Tom's got to meet with his team. And then there's a giant, company meeting where it's the CEO and all the heads of the department are meeting. And you just talk about ways to grow the company, stuff that we need to work on, threats, problems that we need to solve, that we need to overcome, the things that we need to be focusing on the most. And you want to really not work on too many problems at once. You don't want to overcomplicate things. As the owner, there's 100 different things that I want to do and I want to implement. But what you really need to do is you need to write all those 100 on the board. And as fucked up and crazy as this sounds, is you need to narrow it down to 3 that are the most important, and they're going to ROI you the best and are the most important for the company at that point in time. You need to crank those 3 out, and then you move on to the next 3. And I'm sure you got another 200 ideas coming right behind it right after that. And that's my favorite thing to do, is I have a book full of ideas. But I know that I can't implement them every single day, because that would actually be detrimental to the company, going out and trying to do too many things at once. We need to keep it niche and focus on the most important things at once. And that's what actually Steve Jobs used to do. He used to take his top 100 employees on a retreat, and they would get drunk and they'd like get high and stuff like that, and they would just think of ideas for the company, and they would narrow it down to 3. And they would fight over like what 3 are the most important. And then it was always like during Christmas time, and then boom, once Q1 started, like that's what they were working on for the year, and like those 3 were the only things that they really worked on for that whole year.
Or Jan 1.
And that's a Fortune 5 company.
Yeah,
one
that's
of
the Fortune company.
Yeah, that's literally number 1. So
Can you believe we're almost at your favorite date? Jan 1?
Jan 1, maybe.
Jan 1's coming in hot.
Jan 1's beautiful. We're about to hit our 3-year mark. It's going to be a really big accomplishment for the company. I'm very proud of that.
Our
3 years in business.
Our 3rd Q1.
I know. It is our 3rd Q1. Gonna be better than all the other Q1s. Can't get any worse, right?
I mean, our management, too, is just a testament to the exponential growth in our company. If we didn't have the team that we have, we would simply not grow. I mean, like, you could be the best fucking CEO in the world. You cannot do it all by yourself. You always say it's a team sport. You have to have a team.
Yep.
That's what's going to push you forward. If someone on your team is lacking, you're there to pick them back up and keep it pushing forward.
Yes, sir.
One thing that I think is so important as far as being a leader and a manager goes, and I've always give you kudos on this one for yourself, is having the balance of a love-hate relationship. I love you to death, but there are the times where I've hated you to death.
I don't blame you.
And I have on my ratio, I'm more love. I'm like 75% love, 25 hate, maybe even a little less.
That's a good ratio.
I need to get a little closer to 50-50.
The team needs to fear you a little bit.
50-50. Teams
They
gotta
need to fear
you.
you, and they need to be like
He's
afraid
gotta
when
fear
Appio's
you.
up and looking at their computer screens. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. They can't always think they could joke around with you.
No, but it's so important because you have to be loved, or else if you're not loved, you're not gonna really grow. You're gonna get half-assed productivity.
You're not going to get the heart of your team.
No, you're gonna get half-assed productivity when you're not around.
Yeah.
But you also have to be hated or feared because people will take advantage of the love as well. If you're too soft on people, people will get complacent and get comfortable, and then they will take advantage of that and slack around even when you are around.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a good balance that you need to have, and you've always kept everybody here in a proper check with that balance.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely not the funnest thing in the world to not be liked, but that's like kind of what entrepreneurship is and management is to a certain extent. It's a lonely path. You're going through everything alone by yourself. As managers, you have me to come to, but as the entrepreneur, as the CEO, there's a lot of existential problems that you're dealing with every single day that nobody really knows about. Everyone's just collecting their paychecks, collecting their salaries, collecting their commission, and you're on the brink of
Leave that out.
Yeah. So it's not easy, but you need to balance it out, and you're 100% right. You need to be. Is it more important to be feared or loved?
That's the thing. It's both.
Both.
Yeah,
Yeah. Who's that, Sonny?
The answer is
Yeah, that was Sonny.
yeah, Bronx Tale. And then the simple answer is it's both, and you need to find a good balancing act. And sometimes you're going to find yourself tipping, both directions, and one either way. And that's why it's good to have a good management team behind you as well, who's real and honest with you, and who could even check you, at some times, because even as the owner, as the founder, you're not always completely thinking about that. You're thinking about getting the job done. You're thinking about this person's not doing that job correctly, and that's why you acted the way that you did. But at the same time, people are human. You need to treat them that way, and I've definitely learned that, over my time from, being an owner.
It's definitely like a big parent feel. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel good to yell at your kid.
No.
But you have to do it to make him a man.
No one likes being hated, dude.
But no one likes to be hated all the time. But I mean, if, like you said, if you keep the right balance and you give them the love, you're not hated all the time. They're just pissed in the moment, and then they realize it was what was good for them.
That's where the caring comes in. That's where the caring comes in, because if they genuinely know that you care about them like a parent does, but you scream at them from time to time because you expect more from them, they're better than what they're showing right now, and maybe you think that they're not caring as much as you're caring, which are all honestly valid points to being upset with somebody, but they still know in the back of their head that you mean well, and you just care about the company, and you care about their growth, and you care about them. And even more deeper, messed up things into it is you care about their family, and you care about the world, because those are the things that I think about. I think about, your family deserves better. Your family deserves better. You're not giving this shit your all, and they just deserve better, and the world deserves better, and everybody deserves better. You're not putting out your best foot forward, and I hold my team to a higher standard than I think really anybody else ever has in the history of life, because I know that you guys are better, and I know it's a rough road right now. But at the end of the day, we want to accomplish a goal. You guys hear what I say in the morning meetings. I don't just say I want to be a Fortune 500 company for fun.
Yeah.
It's something that if you ask everybody who worked for Steve Jobs, everyone who worked for Bill Gates, everyone who worked for Sam Altman, they all say the same exact thing. He had a big heart, really amazing guy, cared a lot. Nobody could outwork him, but he had a side to him. He had a dark, evil side, but it was inspiring in like a crazy, messed up way. It was inspiring, and we all galvanized behind him. And he's the most interesting man in the world. And it's true. And you need to have all that in you, to be able to lead a team to be a Fortune 500 company. It's screwed up, but I've read books, and I've just read up on it, bro. And I've mirrored myself to just be like that. And I think, from coming from you three, you all know that like I wasn't like this even 3 years ago. I've had to recreate myself in order for us to become an 8-figure company. And guess what? I'm going to have to recreate myself in order for us to become a 9-figure company and a 10-figure company, and so on and so forth. And I will continue to, and I will continue to get better every single day.
I talk a lot about J.D. Rockefeller because I love him. But
he was a ruthless man.
One of my favorite quotes is that his bad side, as bad as every bit as, what is it? His bad side was just as bad as his good side was good.
Yeah.
Every bit of his bad side was just as bad as his good side was good.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
I have a saying that I don't think a man's a real man unless you have a bad side.
I agree.
Because there's just so many like evil forces going against us in life right now, and like Appio said, you'll just get walked all over if you're a good guy.
Look,
You
yeah,
know,
he had
you need to have a
crazy
bad
business
side.
tactics, but he's also the world's largest philanthropist and funded
Yeah.
tons
Well,
of
most
medical
of those guys, they
research,
all
you know
have
what I
huge
mean?
hearts, dude. It's just they just want to accomplish a goal. They just want to change their family's life. They want to change their employees' family's life, and they want to change the world. And it's like you can't do that just half-assing life and not caring and not being on people and not being a dick. You know, excuse my language, from time to time. And it's just literally impossible. You need to light a fire underneath people's butts because, like I always say, they don't always work as hard as they should be because they don't think about these messed up things that the founder's thinking of or that the management team's thinking of.
Yeah.
They're just thinking about getting the job done, going home, clocking out, and going home. You know, but there's more to life than that.
Lex.
Just
Lex.
like there's a new episode next week, and that will be episode 50.
Oh,
And these managers will be there.
Yes, we
be
will.
there. And we have a special guest.
oh,
Oh. Not gonna drop it on you now.
no.
You'll see her when you see her.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, it's her.
Oh, a female.
Oh.
Oh. Oh.
A Lex lady?
Now I know you guys are really tuning in.
Could it be?
I don't know.
I don't know. I
Guess
guess stay
we'll
tuned.
find out. Yeah,
Episode
we'll find out
50.
next week, baby.
Episode 50. Here, Remy, catch.
Oh, that equipment.
Touchdown. Oh, that's a field goal. Field goal.
Also a touchdown.
Guys,
Is
don't
this a
forget-
touchdown too?
Yeah.
Touchdown.
Yeah, same motion.
Touchdown, mother.
Here, Remy, hit a field goal.
Spike it.
Go.
Like you hit the post?
Oh, here, catch Tom. Let's throw it around. Throw it around. Whoever drops the first loses. Hot potato. 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 Oh. I guess
Chris, that's on you.
Me and Tom. Well, guys, this is a good one.
I liked it.
That's
a good
Episode
one.
49.
That
Yeah.
button.
Smash it.
Yeah.
Smash it, hit
Smash
it,
it.
like it, follow
Do
it,
it.
watch it, do it,
Bop
live
it.
it, breathe it.
Twist it.
And be there for flag football this Sunday if you want to get smoked.
Robbie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What a
Rob.
weighted vest.
Yeah, and anyone from Lexington who didn't show up last Saturday, you better be here Sunday.
You messed
Oh,
up.
yeah.
Yes.
Then you better watch this.
Yeah. Yes.
Better.
Yellow.
Yeah.
Yellow.
Yellow.
I was going to say it.
Can't touch this.
Now we got to stop.
Can't touch.